Hello and welcome to Caffeine Entertainment. I'm your host, Mental9R, and this is episode number 6 of Backlogs and Replays. And the topic for today is our follow-up on the Order 1886. And I'm going to be following up on that game with my partner in crime, Finn Tintin. Let's bring him to the show now. Hey Finn, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I can't complain other than my allergies are bugging me, so if I'm blinking a lot and I'm rubbing my eyes, that's why they're annoyed.
I think, or else you're incredulous as to my commentary.
Yeah, well, there's that too. That could happen.
Yeah.
That could happen, but how's things going?
Pretty good. It's a nice warm day in Toronto, a bit too warm for my liking. As an Irish boy, I don't like when it gets over 25. It was hitting 30 and plus, and lots of humidity rather in Toronto as usual. So
Yeah.
a little bit sticky, but besides that, we're all good.
Yeah, I don't even know what it got to today. I think it was only around 25 here, so relatively
Pretty nice.
Pretty casual temperature. Yeah, I mean it's not the humidity of the east. It feels humid to me still because of being in the central Okanagan where it was desert like and super dry. But of course there it would have been 40 degrees or something. But anyway, yeah, so we are talking about our last game we were playing and the Order 1886. And yeah, I'm interested to get your thoughts. I'm going to queue up a little bit of gameplay here so that that's going while we're talking. I'll fire that up now, and yeah, you can give me some thoughts.
Yeah, so I had mixed feelings about it, I'll be honest. Like, first of all, off the bat, I don't think it deserved the hate it got, for sure. Right? There was
I'm
a
right
lot
there with you.
Yeah, there was a lot to like about it. There really was a lot to like about it. I thought especially for the game, it must be like 10 years old now, maybe more.
It was a 2015 game, I think.
I'm not sure, but it
something like that.
Yeah, but I thought for its period, it was actually a pretty good game. Like there was a lot to like about it. I was surprised at how well, as you can see here, how well some of the graphics held up. I was like, oh, this actually looks pretty good. It doesn't make me feel like I'm playing a super old game and with degraded graphics. Yeah. It looked good. I thought the sets were kind of really, like the London looked really good. The sets, they were really good. As I said, the acting was really good. I like the story a lot as well. Like it actually, what I kept on thinking as I was playing is this would be a good freaking TV show. Like if there was a TV show that was this story with these characters and this acting, I would be watching it. Right? It was good. So there was a lot to like about it. I liked as well the sequences where you were, exchanging pot shots with the baddies, like ducking behind things and popping up and all that. The only thing that took me out of it a little bit, and I do think it was a factor of it being somewhat of an older game, like it clearly was an open world. I get that. It was very, very linear, number one.
Yeah.
And I found that a bit annoying at times where you're walking down a corridor and you don't obviously see like a door next to you or a hole next to you, and you're walking around. Where the hell am I supposed to go now? Like, and you'd be going back and forth. And says, oh, there's that bloody little alcove there. So that's where I need to go. And yeah, sure enough, there was always only one way you could go, basically, which I found, maybe it kind of harkened back to the good old days, if you want to call them that. But more than anything else, besides the, as I said, like I enjoy taking shots at guys. I didn't like all of the gameplay that much, which, and obviously being a game, that's pretty important. But it was like the hit triangle now, knock the left stick to, like I was like, like there was no sense of fluidity, I guess. It wasn't like, if you're playing Assassin's Creed and you're hopping over people and chopping them up, and it was all like hit triangle now, swipe the right stick to the right, swipe the left stick to the right, And I was like, yeah, it felt that part felt dated to me, like that part of the gameplay. But everything else around the game, I really, really liked. But that part of it I felt a bit annoying. And there was some parts of it. This is, I didn't finish it. I think we're about halfway through, because I got past the bits that you're showing me now. It's a little bit further onto that. Spoiler alert, if anyone who hasn't played this game that's like a dozen years old, one of the main characters gets killed. And so I'm after getting past that part. And but yeah, like there was a couple of sections where I found it a bit painful. One of those sections, actually, even though it wasn't that long, where you're fighting that half-breed, as they call them, and hit triangle now do this, now that, and I just like, I don't feel like I'm playing a game as much as like, paint by
interactive
numbers
movie.
Yeah, like, I didn't enjoy that much. So that's
that's the part that I had playing there initially, and I was kind of just tooling around there and seeing how long I could keep doing this repetitive thing over and over. And then when he hit me a couple times, okay, now I got to finish it or I'm gonna have to start over. But I can totally. Those were my least favorite parts of the game. The quick time events were kind of boring. This type of stuff where you're running around killing people, that was pretty fun. If I think back to, the best of my recollection, most of the complaints were in line with the stuff you're mentioning. I know there was also complaints about the letterbox for a cover shooter, where the idea is you're ducking behind things like this. Having it letterbox, it cuts a lot of the top of the screen off, right, and the bottom of the screen, so you lose a lot of your field of view up and over, so it makes it a lot more difficult. So I know that was a complaint, and I found that annoying as I was playing through. Unlike you, I did finish it. Like, I think I finished it Monday night or something. But that's my second playthrough, and maybe second playthrough I probably went through it a lot faster than I did the first time, because I didn't run, I remembered most of it and what was coming next and where to go. The only spot that I actually for some reason had trouble with, and I don't remember having trouble with it the first time, was and you might probably didn't get this far because it's near the end, but I have some gameplay recorded of it. There's an area where you get into like a sort of an underground room, I guess, I don't know, lack of a better word, with some pillars in it and junk, and reinforcements keep coming. And I don't know, man, I must have died in that spot, I don't know, half a dozen times anyway. And I'm just like, what the hell? And I'd get down to like right near, like at the end, and then, oh geez, I get hit by a shotgun guy, I'd fall down, I wouldn't be able to get up in time, and they'd kill me. And I'd be like, nah, I had it all done, and this stuff. But generally speaking, I think highlights for me in terms of the game is it's a really good looking game. For the
agree.
era. I mean, it's a 30 FPS game, but graphically it has a lot of great sets. I think the environment works for the style of game it is. I like that feeling of it's an old-fashioned game. You got a lot of old-fashioned weapons, but you also have that futuristic aspect to it too. I found that kind of fun. I don't know if you got that far or not where I'm at right now. You'll recognize it if you did.
I don't think so. I think I'm as I said, like I think I'm about halfway through, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, like I looked up how many chapters were. Like I guess the other thing I was meant to say as well, the other complaint I had heard level is that it's too short. I didn't feel that at all. Like I felt, having played half of it approximately, I was like, it's a decent length. Like it doesn't need to be longer. Honestly, I don't quite get that. I mean, it's not Grand Theft Auto, that's true. But not like we said on the previous week, not everything needs to be, right? I think it was a perfectly good length for the type of story that it was. And I agree with you. The character design I thought was excellent. I liked the way everyone looked. I liked the whole, the Knights of the Round Table, but in medieval England. I thought that was all very, very cool. And as I say, it would be a great TV show or a movie. It was just somebody, and I did notice that a little bit as well, like relating back to what you said there was a section on the airship, and I said to you a couple of days ago, I don't know how long this review is going to be, because it was like, I think I'm fucking done with this thing, because there was a section on the airship, and it was like, the more frustrated I got, the worse it got. I had to stealth kill 2 guys, and
I know exactly where you mean. I think
one or both of them, I would have been creeping up, and then the triangle would come up, and I hit either too quick or too slow, and they turn around and kill me, and then I do it all over again. And by the time I was doing it like the 5th time, I was like almost trying to run at them, like, which obviously wasn't helping.
You start getting frustrated.
Yeah, but So
I went through that the first time, and when I got to that point on the second time, I think I screwed up once, but I kind of knew what worked from having played it once, right? So, but I'm laughing because I know the exact frustration you're talking about, and I really hate that stealth mechanic, the kill of sneaking up behind them and having to just time that button just right. I'm usually too impatient, and I tend to hit it too quick. But it's
and I didn't quite understand. I didn't quite understand it either. It was like, so is it like, it was like, I thought like when the triangle peered in, it was white going around. I said, okay, now, so I hit it, and like, no, not now, too early. And I still don't think I 100% figured out like when I'm supposed to hit it. I just did it randomly enough so many times that
this is that room I was talking about. But it was not a great game mechanic, to be perfectly honest. I didn't enjoy it really. And what I found,
I think catacombs is the right word for this, Mike. Catacombs.
Sure, that works. You're dead on there, I think. But yeah, it's that part of the game I found annoying, no question. And there's multiple areas where that plays a role. If you play long enough, you get to a spot that's kind of cool. It's pouring rain out, and you're out in the dark, and you're sneaking around sort of an outdoor garden area, and there's guards all over the place, and you got to go around stealth killing all of them. I mean, you don't have, every time or both times I've played it, I've pretty much had to kill everybody to find the key, or the guard with the key. So I think it's just something you got to do, but it's definitely one of the more annoying sections as well, if you're mistiming that stuff. Like, it took me a few tries to get through, just because of the issue that I have with getting impatient with that timing on that quick time event. And then the other thing I'd find that would happen is I'd be stealth sneaking up behind them, and I'd miss the first opportunity to get them, but by not pressing the button, because I'd get stuck on like a little object sticking out a little bit or something, and it would stop me, and then the triangle would disappear. Then I'd have to go after them again, and with my luck, sometimes they just turn around, and I'd get killed before they'd just see me, right?
One thing, I was thinking of you actually as I was going through it, because I know you go on about Uncharted and why can't I climb over that rock. You'd walk along, and there'd be all these doors, and like the one door would have a little triangle in it, like, and you could, you'd end up shooting through it, or kicking through it, or shouldering through it, and I'd be like, hey, look at all these other doors. Can I not do anything with those? Like, why is that the only door that I can open up here? And I was like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And there'd be like sections where you could run across rooftops and jump across, but God forbid, this thing that's 3 foot high that's blocking you can't get over that, so it just reminded me of the whole Uncharted. But like, I feel like we're going on quite a lot about the things that were bad about it. There was so much to like about this game. I think it was a very, very much like, I think it was ahead of its time in so many respects. Like, even now I'm looking at it, it doesn't look like a game that's like a dozen years old or whatever it is, or like 10 years old. Like, it looks good, like, and as I say, I thought the character design was excellent throughout. Like, all of the characters looked good. They looked like knights, but they looked like knights would look in the medieval age. I just thought it was I almost had a hankering for, stop making me having to hit triangle, and let me just sit down and watch the bloody show. Or even just watch the show on TV, because it's a good show. It's a good story. And if I do continue with it, which I'm not sure if I will or not, it will be to figure out what's going to happen or how things turn out and all that, rather than the gameplay. But I actually really liked the story. I thought it was very, very good.
Yeah. No, I was going to echo that, or I will echo that. I was going to mention that. I think the story overall was quite enjoyable. I'm disappointed that the game didn't do better,
Yeah,
because I would like to see a sequel to it, honestly, because there's room for it. I think the way it ended, there's still room for the story to continue. And I'm a little disappointed that I don't get to find out what the dev may have come up with for the second phase of this, because I don't know. I like the atmosphere of the game. I love the characters were well developed, I think, and enjoyable to play.
yeah.
And
I
yeah,
think
it's just
the acting was just so good in it. Like I think especially the main character, whatever Grayson or
yeah,
Galahad, like even like after playing for a few minutes, I know you said the characters are well developed. Even after playing for a few minutes, the voice acting I thought was so good. You felt an affinity with him. Like you felt like,
yeah,
okay, this is a real rounded guy, a world weary warrior, right? Like that,
yeah,
but a good guy overall. You felt as I say, an affinity for him. Um,
yeah.
and
Getting
I
teased for being old. I
yeah, yeah.
totally can relate to that.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure you can. Like when,
Yes, yes. My
but
son reminds me of it every day that I'm
but
old.
yeah. I
So
think if it was a bit more like if they did make a sequel that was a bit more open worldy, like not quite so linear. It doesn't have to be like as I say, like Metal Gear Solid 5 or Grand Theft Auto, but a little bit more optional. Like I could either choose to assassinate them or I could choose to just go in guns blazing. It didn't seem like you had that choice, in a lot of places. Very procedural. And as well, if they made it so that it was a little bit more like, okay, you have a dodge button, you have a
yeah,
roll button, and not just hit triangle now or swipe to the side.
uh, that's one thing. The dodge button would have been a godsend in that whatever the heck room there.
Catacombs.
Yes, the catacombs. It just completely left my brain. That would have been really useful. And there's multiple times, like there's a character that comes in with I guess it's kind of a grenade launcher with sticky grenades that will stick to the walls and stuff. And then it will present an X option to dodge and roll away from it,
Yeah,
which magically will keep you from getting injured at all, even
yeah,
though you might even roll towards it, but it seems to not care. Um, and I can't tell you how many times I would just instinctively hit X to try and roll away from just people with guns,
yeah,
and nothing would happen. And I mean, that caused me to die quite a few times just out of my own stupidity for trying it. But it would be such a nice mechanic to have some sort of a dodge and roll in this game. Like I could see if they,
yeah,
oh, there's the end of that. If they were to update it, it would be quite interesting.
yeah.
I think to see what they could do with that series, taking it
Yeah,
ahead again
I say
with a sequel.
I'm not sure about the quick react button or whatever you call them. But if they just
Quick
replace
time.
that quick time, yeah, if they just replace that with like as you say, you can either dodge or you can shoot or you can jump back or whatever. Just like a game from. I always use Batman, the Batman games or the Arkham games as examples of combat done right. If they had that type of combat versus like hitting triangle,
Yeah,
I would have been. It would have been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But that part I did find out a bit grating. But besides that, like
yeah,
the setting, the acting, the look and feel of it, some parts of the gameplay as well. Like
yeah,
when it was more up to you, like when you were fighting all these bad guys in big rooms, and you could choose to go down with the shotgun and start blasting away, or you could snipe them, or that part. It was like a lot of fun.
yeah. No, the production quality, I think, overall was really good. And, I'll give them, major kudos for that. I don't remember what the Metascore was. I meant to look that up before we did this, but I think it was in the 60s, which to
Yeah,
me
it's very
isn't,
unfair, especially for that game
yeah,
for 10 years ago. Like, how could you not be impressed in a way? I think.
yeah, yeah. There seemed to, yeah, there was a real hate on for it. I don't know. I would probably give it more like a, 75, 78-ish maybe for me. Change that mechanic of the quick time events a bit, and I could see the game moving into the 80s pretty easily. I found the quick time stuff just to be a little too finicky. Even, maybe that's a me problem. Maybe it's old guy can't hit the button in time. I don't know, but I just didn't find it that fluid. And maybe it's a 30 FPS thing, that the timing felt off a little bit with it. But, it is what it is. I didn't let that really affect my opinion on what was otherwise a very good game. That I'm happy I had the opportunity to play through a couple times. So.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. And you were right. I actually would give it, like, for its time, I would say it's a solid 80. And you're right, like MetaCritic gave it a 63, which I think is pretty harsh.
Okay. Yeah, no, that doesn't seem fair to me. And I'm glad you agree. Chalk one up for an agreement here. I think we, generally speaking, our thoughts on it are relatively similar. But anything else you want to say about it before we wrap it up?
I'd recommend it for anyone who likes these kind of old time dramas, like, anyone who's into Peaky Blinders or any of those type of shows. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, so thumbs up. Cool. Hello, future me here. After we finished recording the show, I realized I made a mistake. The game that we had picked was A Plague Tale: Innocence, but we discovered that the little icon that I saw that made me think it was in PlayStation Plus and available for Finn to play. Turns out I was looking at the stream icon and it gave me that icon because I actually own the game. So because Finn doesn't have it, we decided to go with a different game, and that game is right there, What Remains of Edith Finch. So we will play that over the next couple weeks, and we will see you then, and I will take us back to the remainder of the show. Thanks. There you go. So that. We'll talk about that one more. Maybe not in a couple weeks. It might be a bit longer because Finn's going to be out of town. So it depends, A, if he's got the time to play. We want to make sure we're giving it a fair shake. And B, just on the timing of being able to actually do the video. So we'll see how that goes, but we'll do our best to get it out in a couple weeks. And if we can't, apologies in advance. Why don't you tell them how to reach you, Finn?
You can get
Your
me
favorite part of the show.
Yeah. I have to record this. I can just cut it in seamlessly, so you can just see my head, so it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. Finn Tintin on Steam, on PlayStation, on Xbox, and Finn Tintin with a 1 in it on X, as you see below.
Right on. And I am Mental9R on X, Mental9R on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, and just about anywhere else you can play video games. And thanks again. If you sat through this whole video, we greatly appreciate it. We recently hit 60 subscribers, so thank you so much to each and every one of you. I'm going to say something I've never said before, but the vast majority of people that watch our videos aren't subscribed. I bet you've never heard that ever in your life. So hey, we'd appreciate you hitting that sub button and maybe even ringing that bell if you're enjoying our content. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Mental9R. This is Caffeine Entertainment. It's time to wake up and play some games.